in a world. No.
Oh.
Help. My wife's into super boring stuff. What do I do? We'll answer that today on the Man Space. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Welcome to the Man Space Podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter. Welcome, spaceman. I want to make an announcement so that everyone knows. There are, in fact, 3 distinct people on the Man Space. It's not one of us, really just me and my brother, who look exactly alike. No one's going to mistake, unless I can really pull off some serious
hairdoage.
hair stuff. It's
Your
not
hair,
just
Matt.
me and my brother. It is. My brother says things differently than I do, sometimes with the same background. But look, he's got a fan in his and I don't in mine.
And I've got a guitar in mine.
So you know it's real. Like bats. So you know it's good.
I will say, on a few occasions, I've listened to our podcast, and there are times I can't tell our voices apart. Like I will
Really?
hear it, and I think, I thought Rob said that, but that sounds like
But we
me.
we also have a different, not just like a different voice, obviously, but like a different tone, the way that we say things.
But there are still times.
Mine sounds less intelligent, I've found.
What? For a second, I thought you were going to say, I sound more intelligent, Mike. You sound like a moron.
Delayed reaction to the same thing I was reacting to, like at the beginning.
What do you mean?
Remember how I was like really super critical of my?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Remember that one video we made where you had dead eyes looking out?
you're like all engaged looking at. I'm like,
That was my favorite.
As a side note, one more thing. A loyal listener reminded me that it's not called the gas station. It's
called the drink store.
The drink store. Which makes me angry when I go to gas stations. I'm like, you guys have like 4 sodas in your fountain. What are you doing? What else does anybody come inside here for?
My kids always say, are we going to stop at the drink store?
The drink store.
Now I think they do say QT. Are we going to go to QT?
I feel bad about that. I have mixed feelings about QT now.
Why?
Every time I go, I'm like, so that one's out?
That's-
Something's always
yeah,
broken
like
in
soda's
QT.
But it is still like, at least for me, at least. This is I spend way too much time about soda. For me, at least, though, like yes, they will inconsistently have it in stock, but it's like if they have it, it's typically good. Like it's not like HEB where even if they have it, I'm like, yeah, but is it gonna? Like I had some the other day and it tasted like bubble gum, and it didn't matter how long.
What was it?
It was Coke Zero, but
Dude,
you could taste the big red.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, there was a McDonald's before they remodeled the McDonald's on NASA for any local people. The old one with like the astronaut
astronaut
dangling over the PlayStation.
Yeah.
PlayStation. Play place. The diet. It wasn't even Diet Coke. It was regular Coke. Tasted like bubble gum.
Wow.
Yeah, I hated it because I knew every time that was going to happen. But if
red.
I was in a pinch, I had to go there,
Yeah.
and then I was like, maybe this time, no bubble gum.
I like
Well,
the way.
and like I said, at first we just thought it was because the HEB by our house has the HEB fuel has one of those ones where it's the one spout and it all like you just choose the flavor and it comes out. So I'm like, yeah, like there's going to be bleed
It's a
over in
tainted
the
spout.
line. Yeah. And so I'm like, clearly someone had just had Big Red. And I sat and just tried to clear out the line, just held
Clear the
like
lines!
Coke Zero and just like let it run for a whole bunch, which I'm sure the people see me and are like, stop wasting my Coke. Well, don't all have it come out of one spout.
They don't
They
care.
really don't care. Although someday someone's going to be like, sir.
Yeah.
So then we went to the other machine and I thought, nope. And at first it didn't, but then I got home and I thought, nope, still tastes like bubble gum.
Coke Zero and Big Red bags inside were having an affair.
I can't. I was just sitting here thinking, somebody's gonna be like, how do I skip ahead of this crap?
You go get a drink.
Did I tell you?
Did someone say that?
I had a client because I've been listening to more of your show. I said, oh, that's good. Thanks. And I said, I hope you're enjoying it. And he goes, yeah, I had my dad listen to it. I'll tell you what he said. And I thought already, this is not going to be good. He goes, you couldn't even make it through 5 minutes. And he just goes, they're not talking about anything. My client said, he goes, Dad, that's kind of their point. And I said, that is like, it was a conscious decision for us to choose to do it this way.
I keep thinking about this, like this loneliness thing we've talked about before keeps coming up for more and more dudes that I see.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like, man, this is like a rampant plague.
Yeah.
That's why I do feel like everyone, I shouldn't encourage this. It's like telling someone to go use meth. If you're going to start listening to the man space, you should start going to the drink store.
Oh, there you go.
What made me laugh too is Matt said, if I'm in a pinch, as though there's some moment where it's like, crap, an emergency. I got to go get a soda right now.
Well,
Which to me, there is a pinch.
If I didn't have time to drive all the way to the other one.
No, I was going to say, to me, though, that's just it.
That's a pinch.
Sometimes I do need a soda.
Crap.
And so in a pinch, well, fine, I'll get that one.
Fascinating. My wife does not understand my deep love of soda. I think she's come to understand a little more because my kids all love it.
So weird.
She doesn't anymore. And actually, there are certain sodas that she also loves. She'll drink about, this much of.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Dew when they put out their Christmas flavor Merry mashup.
Mhm.
It is
She loves
delightful,
that.
and she will.
What's in that?
It's like a cranberry. I don't know, but they only make
Oh.
it sometimes. Last year they made
They don't make a zero version of it.
a
Okay.
fruitcake one that's disgusting.
Maybe they will this year, though.
Yeah, that sounds.
No, they're not. This year's a different flavor.
They're not doing a Merry mashup again?
Dude,
No,
fruitcake
they've
isn't
already
even good as fruitcake. Why would
I
it be
know.
good as a soda?
announced. I
Half of Mountain Dew's flavors aren't good. The
You're
crap
not-
they come up with, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
because it's
like,
the same thing as Taco Bell. What
It always
vending
is a
machine
little
stuff
bit
we
like
stuff in here?
a melted popsicle, but some of these I'm like, no, I think you literally just melted a popsicle and added carbonation.
I also hope that Robbie finds a way to make some of this dumb talk into a TikTok.
That'd be awesome.
Someone will be like, "Well, I learned nothing from here."
The finer points of Mountain Dew.
So I don't think we always have to learn. Anyway, so my point is where I was going to transition and tie us in.
Okay.
Oh,
Is my wife does not get it, but over time she's gotten better. She understands. I think a little bit like there's a ritual to me. It's not just like somebody was asking me this. Oh, my friend Kevin. We helped somebody move some stuff, and it was a weird experience. I won't go into that right now, but it was like this was weird. And he finishes like, "Well, I got to go to QT, get my dopamine hit. That was weird." I was like, "I'll go too." So we go. It was like 9 a.m., which people are like, "You're drinking a soda at 9?"
Day
I'm like,
drinking?
I feel like, is it better to drink it at like 10 at night?
just in case you're wondering, 7.
Yeah. When I wake up,
7:30, that's
roll
when I
over,
start.
and I start. But I said something about, well, this is my first trip of the day. He's like, you're going to go to the gas station more than once in a day? I was like, yeah, dude.
Well, because you're not going to the gas station, you're going to the drink store.
Drink store. But also, it's the ritual of the drink store. I like
Yeah.
it. My kids like going because it's fun to go to the drink store.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you call it the drink store or the gas station because I think my kids
Refer to it as its brand name, Circle K.
know, like just as the nickname I've given all of them, like Mediterranean Bilbos.
Freaking love that one. Mediterranean Bilbo.
And I think they called, I think they called Circle K the Sip and Save.
Oh, well. So here's what, but my tie-in was that my wife, I think, has tried to learn to get into, she'll drink some soda sometimes. It's not her thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she recognizes now how much we all like it. Even though I've told my kids, don't be like me. Don't become a 45-year-old man who's like, soda. Actually, my thing is, yeah, soda.
Well, there's worse things.
Oh, sure. But still, why don't I encourage better things? Get really into carrots.
This will make you feel better. I had a friend in high school that told one of our other friends, like, I can't remember how it came up, but anyway, this friend smoked, and he was like telling the other guy, dude, if you ever smoke, like don't start, because he's not. It's funny, like some high schooler had been smoking for like 6 months or something, but he's like, don't start, and if you do, I'm gonna slap you so hard. So like, it was a couple years later, we were hanging out, and the friend that wasn't supposed to smoke was standing on the porch and like lit up. And the other guy came out and literally like slapped his face so hard the cigarette went.
That's awesome.
So my tie-in was my wife
All right.
getting cool,
Understands
being cool
it now.
with like what my thing is, and it's really there's a part of me that laughs all the time. I never want to be able to go into a gas station and then be like, "Oh, hey, Rob." I'm like, "No, I'm that guy now."
It's my favorite.
I don't know why it bothers me because in the end, in my mind, I guess I was like, "I'm not gas station people," but now I'm like, "I'm totally I'm drink
Yeah.
store people."
I've had it there and McDonald's, so it's okay.
I do always want to have like a local cafe where I walk in like regular Rob and I'm like, "Yeah."
Give me the Rob.
Yeah, and they name it after me. But
Well, just start thinking of the McDonald's as a cafe.
they do have the McCafe.
The McCafe, see?
So what I was my tie-in with that we're still not getting to is this idea of like, Matt, you brought this up, and so I'll let you explain more. But this, I've had this multiple times, and I'll start broadly with, I hear often from couples this thing where it's like we have nothing in common anymore,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm always like, so. I was like, that's just what got you guys to like meet each other and date.
Mm-hmm.
Now it doesn't matter if you have things in common.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to both be into woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of what we were talking about today, when I said what my wife's into all boring stuff or whatever it was I said, is that I think this, and flesh this out, Matt. What do you do if you're not into anything your wife's into? Is that
Or kids, or yeah.
you have no interest in their things?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Is that
Sure.
no fleshing there? Is that all fleshed?
Yeah. No, I think there's people that say that we don't have anything in common, as though like
Therefore,
we're
That's
not
a
naturally
prerequisite.
like we wouldn't naturally spend time together because we're doing things that are different. But like you said, when was a relationship ever like a natural attraction, except for at the very beginning?
Right.
And I'm not saying that doesn't happen later too, but
But it's funny too, because at the beginning, I think, you have no idea how much you have in common.
mhm.
Like chances are you have one thing in common, which
You
is
like
why you're
each
both at
other.
the same place.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, you don't know anything.
Yeah. And sometimes people have like really, closely shared hobbies or interests or things
Mhm.
like that. But there's always going to be something that each of you do that the other person isn't really into and maybe supports. So men, you're going to hate that I say this,
No.
but I also think it goes both ways too. Because I think that I've heard men and women say this about their partners or people in their family, but, like going shopping and just tolerating it. It's not that you're not doing enough. I'm not saying that. I guess what I'm saying is there's probably a real missed opportunity. That's what I'm talking about. It's
it's kind of the equivalent of like if I go shopping with my wife, which my
Mhm.
wife is not a shopper, but if
Yeah.
I go shopping with my wife and the whole time I'm walking around like
Mhm.
and feeling like, are we done?
Yeah.
Do you need to go to one more store?
Mhm.
It's kind of the equivalent for men of saying, like, when it's sometimes when I'm having sex with my wife, she's like a dead fish. Like, are you done? It's like,
Mhm.
but I want you to be into it
Yeah.
because there's some sort of validation for me
Mhm.
if you're into it,
Yeah.
among other things.
Yeah. I think that there's an opportunity maybe to kind of experience and try to get into a mindset where, like, if it matters to you, it matters to me. So, I'll go with you or whatever, right? Or I'll take care of whatever else you would have had to do so that you can go do that. But like, when do you get to experience your partner doing something that they really love?
Yeah.
Or they're really excited about and get to be happy for them, not happy for them. Well, happy for them, yes, but also like happy watching them do something that
Mhm.
they're into. So I think generally as men, we're not very good at that. Like I've heard a lot of dads say, well, I've heard a lot of moms say to dads, you need to have a relationship with your daughter or, whatever. And it's like, well, I don't like doing what she does. And she doesn't like doing what I do. So we're never going to occupy the same space. Right. And it's like, and so I think sometimes dads are constantly trying to find something that they have in common. But, well, and I'll say this too, maybe about my youngest, right? Like I think we have done a lot of that, trying to find something that we like to do together. One thing that I need to get better at, and I actually made a little gesture like earlier this way, but that girl has seen every episode of Gilmore Girls probably 7 times.
Oh, lucky.
But she constantly just puts it on. And I'm like, that show again. And she, more than anybody in our family, constantly gets the like, what you're doing is stupid, right?
She's the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
The youngest is too.
so like for a long time, we kept trying to find something that we like to do together, but then like either she'd bail on it or I'd bail on it or whatever. But like being able to go do things with her over the last couple of weeks that she really likes and hearing her like apologize to me, like, sorry that I know this is boring, kind of made me think about it different. Like, well, that sucks. Like the whole time you feel like I'm doing this thing that I like, but you're worried about how I feel about it. And so, so I just told her like, I'm happy to do things that you like, cause I like being with you when you're doing things you like. And it was way better. I got way more into it. Right. So I think sometimes as men, we think too much in terms of like, what am I into?
Mhm.
And generally, not all the time, but generally the women in our lives are pretty accommodating and can get excited about what we are excited about and ask us about it and like, try and understand why we're interested in it. I'm not saying that's all the time, because like you said, with the soda or sports or other things, I've heard the opposite too. And I think that,
Well, when
I think it goes both
yeah,
ways.
because if it sucks up all your time, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to be excited about it.
Right. Or if I just think it's dumb,
Yeah.
like I've heard, women say that to men, and I just don't get it or whatever. But yeah, I think the act of like, that's something that you like, and I want to be with you when you're doing it. Not all the time. You have your separate interests too, but I think something really cool happens when the person is feeling freed up to do what they want to do in your presence, and you're also asking them questions about it and taking interest in what somebody else is into, even if you're not into it. I just think that's a big growth edge for most of us as men.
I think it's interesting because as you're telling me this, I don't know if I've ever sat down with my kids and said, what's something that we're both interested in, or we're all interested in. Partly because I know that with my kids, mostly I could, at any time I could say, who wants to go play Mario Kart? And they would all, just because I'm asking, they'd all say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they all mostly like Mario Kart or like Call of Duty or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also think, when you're mentioning wives do this or women do this, I think kids do it too. Kids will by default say, I want to be interested in what you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if they're not, when they're teenagers, sometimes it's like, that's dumb, Dad, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But like, especially when they're growing up, it's like, clearly they're just kind of almost setting an example of like, whatever you're into, I want to be into it too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not only is it cool to see you into the thing you're into, but it also helps me see who I can be inside of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, that's interesting. It makes me wonder if it really is like that men are more likely to be the ones who are like, that's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not doing that.
I think we define ourselves way
By our
more than
things.
women by our things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that too. But, but I think that it's hard. I mean, I don't know that we think about it this way, but is it like, well, I can't do that because my identity is being
I'm
interested in this.
Yeah, I'm in guitars,
right?
and
And I think that maybe because for me it's an identity thing. If you're into something that I think is dumb, maybe I'm trying to actively encourage you away from it because I think don't tie your identity to that thing. It's dumb, right? Like,
yeah.
or I don't know if that happens, but yeah, I do think it generally we define ourselves much more by our accomplishments and hobbies and like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe women do that too, but I do know men do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think men, we probably do it more. Like, most people would say I'm a movie guy.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah. And for a long time, that was just, Mike, he's a movie guy. Like I was the guy where people in the neighborhood would be like, hey, do you have this movie? Can I borrow it?
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, that probably less. Like, I don't see it as much, like thinking about Jenner and her friends. Like, I don't see it as much there. Like, I couldn't pinpoint which friend is the, I don't know, movie girl. I don't know, the movie lady, but
Movie lady.
But like, I was thinking about this because there's like, I've talked to men, and I think this might be some of why men are like, well, if I'm not into it, I'm not going to do it. I think there's a lot of men who feel like they don't have time as it is. And so you want me to take some of the free time that I have, which is not much, and engage in a thing I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I do that? Like, I barely have free time for myself anyway. Which I don't think that's accurate, that we don't have free time. Like, we have generally more than we think we do, but I have talked to a lot of guys where that's kind of how they see it, is this idea of like, but I have hardly any time where I get to do things I like to do. And now I have to go do this thing I don't like to do. And that's just to kind of explain, I think, an alternative as to why guys are a little bit more unwilling, I guess, to engage in it. And some of it, like, I think there is a lot to be said for no, if I think that's dumb, then a lot of people are going to think that's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it, then they'll think you're dumb. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to go there because that's
Mhm.
dumb.
Yeah. I think to your point about the free time, like, I think as men, we don't find that. I don't think we are good at finding the areas within our day to day that actually can be much more restful and
Mhm.
rewarding. And so, if I have a choice between doing something that I like or doing something that you like that I hate, and those are my only two choices, like, I don't feel like I have time to do the things that I want, so I can't choose that, and I can reluctantly choose doing what you want, and but then you better not be mad at me, for the way that I spend that time with you. But I think there's like rest built into that we don't tap into. Like generally, we're just really relationally undernourished and under experienced, and so. But that's something that I think, like, if you asked, a mom who's really excited about something that her kid is into, is that draining to you? To be really interested in. I think sometimes they would say, yeah, I have to listen to it all the time, or blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think sometimes they'd say, no, it makes me feel more connected, right? Like, and I don't think we have experienced enough of being connected to people to know that it's actually restful, like going shopping or going whatever, right? And being able to say, I can just be happy, right? Like I can just be excited with you. I don't have to like it, and I wouldn't choose to do it, but I think a lot of the things we ask men to do relationally sound like more work, but I think there's a lot more rest and peace and connection. But it's like you just have to get up over that hill. It's like, trust me, man, if you come up over this hill and you peer down, there's a nice little lake down there where you can skinny dip, right?
But here's like, because maybe I'm offering another. When you were saying this, like, why don't men do this? And I'm sure there are plenty of listeners who are like, I do. I totally got into the stuff my wife's into or whatever. I actually wonder. I thought, why wouldn't they? Is there like, I think maybe there's an element of, if you watch dads with their kids in sports, it's like they're engaging, they'll do lots of stuff and coaching the thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you step out of that realm, it's like, well, I'm not. I wonder how much they feel like I don't have anything to contribute in that arena.
Yeah.
So like,
I don't
if
know what I'm supposed to do.
yeah, like if my wife's really into like, I'm trying to pick something super stereotypical, sewing, right? It's like, well, I don't. There's one sewing machine. I'm not into fabrics. It's like, I don't. You can't ask me for help. I don't. The whole time it's me learning, and that feels. I don't like that. I feel like I need to feel like I'm doing something and contributing something, and this isn't my thing, so I can't contribute. So I wonder if it feels uncomfortable because it's like, this is not my realm, and I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Which is, the shopping one has actually been a big one for Jenner and I, because she likes to go wander and shop, and I don't. But I like it when she goes and wanders and shops.
I like that you like it.
I so hoped you're going to say that at some point today.
What is that from?
It's from
Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11. She's like,
Do
what
you
do you think
this,
of it? She's
this
like,
piece of art?
yeah, picking
I like
the
that
you
like it.
I like that you like it.
Although he says it sounds condescending when he says it.
I know.
But it like, she would get, like, she would come back after trying clothes on and would see me like playing a game on my phone, and I have like
Paying bills.
Yeah, you know how I am. I have like, she always gets mad at me and tells me I need to smile more with my clients because I just look angry if I'm not smiling. And I think this is just my face, so no, I don't. So she comes out and that's the face she sees.
Yeah.
Like, I just look flat and disinterested, and I'm like, well, yeah, like you just left me standing in the women's section, so I'm trying to like not seem like a creeper.
Yeah.
Hanging out in the ladies section while you're in trying on
panties.
clothes, right? So I'm just like, what? Like, what do you want me to do? And so, but she's like, she'll apologize. I'm like, like, for what? Like, I'm not upset. Like, this is fun for me. And it took her so long to believe that it was fun for me. But I thought, no.
This is like, you take Mike on a roller coaster. He's sitting there with his arms crossed. I'm like, how's it going? He's like, this is fun for me.
This is great. But it's what you said, right? Like, I enjoy watching her get to do things she likes. And I went through the phase where I would sit and try to like participate and be like, well, what about this? Or what about that? Turns out, no, I cannot like I'm a terrible judge of what my wife would wear, I guess.
Yeah.
Despite almost 25 years of marriage, I have like, hey, what about that one? No. And I'm just like, okay, cool.
But
But I had to become comfortable with, right, I can't really contribute here.
Mm-hmm.
Except I carry stuff.
but-
Like she'll like find something, and I'm like, and I'll take it from her, and she's like, well, I can get it. I'm like, I know, but I like,
this is what I can
yeah,
contribute.
this is what I can
But don't-
contribute. I can do
Yeah.
this.
But this is part of like I do think there's one element of this, like kind of what you're saying, Matt, earlier of like I like being with you when you're into your thing,
Mm-hmm.
because that's something really cool of like I love listening to. Actually, one of my favorite things with clients when they're new is saying like, well, tell me what you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And when they start getting into something, especially if it's technical, I'm like, I don't understand any of the words
Yeah.
you're saying, but you're so into it that I want to
Yeah.
be into that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of exciting and contagious. So that's one element. The other element is like, yeah, but we've talked before about my mother-in-law when I was first married and finding out, I was mentioning this band that I thought sucked, Good Charlotte. And she's like, oh, I like them. I was like, you like Good Charlotte? Which first of all, I was like, it's not really your age, but also they're a crappy band. But she also said she liked My Chemical Romance. I was like, okay, wait, what? And she's like, well, my daughter's into them. And so I got into them.
Yeah.
Like I wanted, I don't think she's getting in the car and be like, let's listen to My Chemical Romance.
Right.
But she
Yeah.
knows enough to be able to talk with her daughter about it. Like, I think when you say that, it's like, well, I don't know what looks good on you. I think, yeah, but you've been married to her for a long time. Don't you think you can start to say like, but don't you kind of like more blah, blah, blah.
And
And then,
sure.
and then you feel like, now it feels like this is a me and you kind of process.
It's not. It's still a her process. Like, yes, I can.
She's trying to throw you a bone there, Mike.
I know.
Don't worry about it.
But my whole point was, no,
It's not
it is an
relevant.
area where I can't contribute. And no, there are going to be times you can't contribute to the thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be times where it's going to be your wife teaching you.
No.
And
Not me.
apparently not Rob. So Matt, there's going to be times where it's like Lisa's teaching you.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you have to become okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we should be teachable. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, she'll tell me and I'll be like, okay, well, what is it about it that I like? What's the thing I'm missing? I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out, like, one of these days I'm going to find something. She's going to say, oh my gosh, I love that. I'm like, nailed it.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. We've been shopping together for I don't know how many years and I'm still getting there. But I think, yeah, I'm still trying to learn because I want to be able to show up one day with a shirt or whatever and say,
Mhm.
I saw this and I bought it and I knew you'd love it, and have her open it up and be like, I love it.
Yeah.
Right now, like, I won't do that.
I would never buy my wife a shirt
Exactly.
for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
What would she be like? You're not a extra large or a petite or a.
See, but that's, again, like,
I
that's,
got you all 7 sizes.
that's the perk. I actually could, like, as far as sizing goes, no, I could get the correct size for
Dude,
her.
I don't know. I don't know how women get the correct size, because at one
Oh,
store I
no,
wear a
it's a
0,
crapshoot. Yeah,
at
yeah.
another store
Yeah.
I wear a 13.
No, it
It's
is like the
same
worst.
thing.
No, I think that's-
it's the worst system.
I don't know
ever
why
for
they.
them.
I don't know why they can't. And I've heard so many women say this. Like, why can't they go to the same sizing
the
we do
jeans
for pants?
and yeah,
Yeah,
waist
just like
and-
it's
waist and
actually a
length.
measurement
Yeah.
instead of like, well, your size is that. What
Yeah.
does the size 0
Yeah.
even freaking mean?
Right.
Is there a size -2?
It just
should
means that's
be.
what you should be. You know,
It's
and if
probably
you're not, you're fat.
like 0.
Everything
that's
else
kind of
is
what-
plus
yeah,
sized.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, that's torture.
No, and that's like, but even still, like, because we typically go to the same stores, no, I kind of know at this store it's like, these are the sizes and pants, no, that'd be a crapshoot. Pants and dresses, more of a crapshoot. Shirts I could buy.
I thought you
pretty
said
much.
crab suit. I was
Yeah,
like,
crab
crab
suit.
suits, huh?
Um,
I'm real mature.
you made me forget what I was gonna say.
You were talking about, like, at some point you want to nail it
Yeah,
to, like, find the perfect
Right, to
outfit.
find the perfect
and
outfit.
Say that's it.
right. But that's like, yeah,
It's not going back.
no,
That's cool.
just be teachable. That's my point.
I was
guess.
thinking about that though, because I think one thing that gets in our way as men is if we approach, like, shopping or whatever it is, whatever activity, if we approach it with our own understanding of it, sometimes we're kind of like, okay, so we're doing this so that you can find a
An
pair of
outfit, yep.
pants, right? And so in my attempt to be helpful, but also in my attempt to speed this up, I'm going to keep finding things and then get frustrated that you're not finding something. And then
you
you'll be
don't like-
super frustrated if we went to the store and we didn't even get the pants.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to go do it again. But maybe, like, this was the thing with my daughter. Like, it's been a couple times now that we've gone and done this, and literally every time. Well, and she's 13, so she's like in that. She's about to enter like go to the dark side for a little bit,
Mhm.
you know, emerge when she's about a sophomore. But so these are like the
She's
last
T-painted.
vestiges of like she still holds my hand when we go to the store, you know, and I'm like, that's leaving soon probably, right? And I don't even have to like reach down. She's always just reaching up, right? But she fills her cart full of all this stuff and then goes and puts it back. That's just what we do. She likes walking around, looking at stuff, getting excited about stuff.
Then decides
She knows she
doesn't want
doesn't have enough money to buy half of it. And then, but it's just something that she enjoys doing. And it's like objectively, there's no point, right? Like we didn't buy anything. Why did we go to the store? Why did we waste this time? And I think there are probably a lot of things like that, the point isn't to achieve something. The point is, I want to spend time with you, and this is something I'm into. Will you come with me? Right. Which kind of communicates like, is what is important to me, and are my interests and are my thoughts and feelings important to you? And again, as men, I'm like, I don't think that if you asked a guy, hey, do those things matter to you, that he would be like, nope, not at all.
Right.
I hate that person, right? But I mean, they might.
I have some that would.
But I think that they would say, yeah, I don't know what to do with my thoughts and feelings and my interests and my time when I'm there, you know? And that's where I feel like there can be some true rest there. If it's like, the only reason you would be pursuing all the things that you might want to do is so that you could be happy, right? And it's like, you can actually be happy here too, right?
Yeah.
And it's not because it's something you like doing. It's because it's someone you love doing something they like, and you're with them. And I don't know that we have like many experiences like that, but I think they can be really rewarding and restful, peaceful.
Well, so that's we went. My daughter had a rough day at work the other day, and so my wife was trying to give her something to focus on for after work. She said, "Well, we can go to Target and do some shopping," and I wasn't going to go. Like, she doesn't get off work till like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it was a long day. I don't want to do anything today. And we get home and my daughter goes, so is Dad coming? And, kind of like, no. And she goes, oh, okay. And I'm like, well, do you want me to come? No, that's fine. And like at some point I'm sitting there thinking, she specifically asked if I was coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She probably wants me to come. She's not going to say she wants me to come because she's already heard me say I wasn't planning to.
Yeah.
Which to her, whether this is true or not, means I don't want to. Because I wasn't planning to, I don't want to. So, okay, I'm not going to tell Daddy has to come. And then as I'm sitting here thinking all this, I get a text from my wife and she goes, she asked if you were coming. And she goes, and you've been, because like her schedule, I hardly ever see her. And she deals a lot with headaches. And so often when I do see her, she's at the point in the day where she's wiped out. And so she doesn't talk. She doesn't interact. She's just kind of there. So as a parent, I'm like, I haven't connected with my kid in forever because the version of her I get is the on the couch headaching version. She doesn't want to talk to anybody. So I'm like, okay. And she just says, this is going to be a good chance for you to connect with her because she's going to be doing something that, she'll engage in. And sure enough, we get there and, she's showing me all these vinyls and like, well, Dad, like, what about this one? And, like, when are you going to get your record player, Dad?
Yeah.
Like, when can I start buying you vinyls? Like, she has asked me that. When can I buy you a vinyl?
Yeah.
And so I know, right?
She can buy me one.
Nope. You don't have a record player.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
I can start collecting.
Well, get a record player.
I will when I get a vinyl.
That's dumb.
That's pressure on Macy's shoulders.
Just so you
Boom.
know, I have 3 vinyls already, none of which were purchased by her.
Well, yours are decoration. Go ahead.
It's true. No, but it was just this, like, if I shifted, and that's the thing, I can think of other times I've gone to the store with them where I'm just like, oh my gosh, why are we still here? And it's because I'm not in my head, I'm not there to be with them. I'm there to accomplish this task.
Mm-hmm.
But that night I was there just to be with them and just to engage and to, we took both our daughters and just to kind of enjoy the Target experience with my 17 and my 15-year-old. Barf. Right? But it was like, no, it was fun. And we laughed and we made dumb jokes and we laughed in the car ride home. And I told dumb stories about being in high school. And I thought, oh yeah, this was really a positive thing. Even though like, there's no way I would have gone to do that on my own.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't have.
But I do think, because both of what you guys are saying, I think I agree with that idea of like, it's just for connection and it's just for, not just for, but it can just be for like rest and peaceful. Like, but I also feel like, yeah, but you can, like when you're describing walking through the store with your daughter, you're not going to buy all this stuff. It's like, yeah, but I mean, you can find ways to make stuff like that fun for you too. So it's like, oh, I like going to the store. And what we do is we actually like pretend like, hey, if we had a brand new house, we were to fill it full. What would we start? We put it all in the cart, and then it's kind of fun to imagine yourself or whatever, like whatever is going to be of interest to you to make. I feel like, because then it is different for maybe Matt, you're saying it like, sorry for making you do this. Like our kids can sense and our wives can sense where it's like, you're not really into this. I appreciate that you're here, but you're not really into it. And so it's like, I do think there is a challenge we have, not just to say I can find rest here, but also like, I need to challenge myself to say, how do I get into this stuff? Like, and sometimes I think that's hard, like to figure out what is something that appeals to me here, or how to make this appealing to me. But I think it makes a huge difference. Just like I said, when men ask women, could you please like be into sex? It's like, okay, well, you're asking the same thing. Like they're saying, can you be into my thing? Yeah, that sounds bad. It sounds like sex is for men.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to associate it with, sports, because that's another
men aren't usually like, come play with me with sports.
No, but it's watching it. Like, I just want her to sit and watch the game with me.
Do they?
I know a lot. You've never, like, I've thought a lot. Like, I would love it if Jenner sat on the couch and
that's true. I've thought that, but that's why we started watching soccer.
Yeah,
I got to plug my computer in.
Rob's getting up in the middle of the show. Is awkward. And there's the short. No, but this idea of like, yeah, we like it when they take an interest. Like, I love it when Jenner asks me about baseball. Why did they just do that? Well, because of this. Because it feels like she's taking an interest. And so like the flip side is like, sure, when we go shopping, like, and she comes back and doesn't buy any of them. And I'm like, none of them? Like, how come?
Right.
And she'll actually sit and talk to me about, well, this one fit like this and that one fit like that. And I'm like, okay. And so it makes it a more interactive experience for her. Right. It's not just, I'm the clothes mule. Like, I'm not just carrying the clothes around while she goes in and tries them on, and then we load me back up again.
And then you see another guy in that situation. Isn't that like a commercial?
Yeah.
Both guys like looking at each other.
I've actually had that experience play out in real life. It was hilarious. But yeah, like there is a lot to be said for that, like finding a way to make it an engaging process.
Well, I think it's going back to something you said in the beginning, Matt, that like we define ourselves too narrowly sometimes. Like, well, this is my thing. I remember I was sick in high school. It was just me and my parents. We flew out to my sister who was in Athens, Georgia. Her husband was going to University of Georgia. And I was sick, and my mom and my sister were working on something and watching the BBC version of Pride and Prejudice. And my mom was like, and sister were both so excited that I was like getting way into it.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's a lot of good story in this. Like, so I was way into it. And they're like, you like this? It's like, yeah, it's kind of a good story. Like, if you just kind of relax the idea of like, well, because at the time I was like, what's your thing? Where I was like, I'm into punk music.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Punk
go to my.
Music has no place on.
I'm not going to go to my punk show and be like, you guys see the latest BBC of Pride and Prejudice? Freaking amazing.
That's a real good one.
So, but I feel like, yeah, but we should always be looking to like, well, what are the ways I can expand? It's actually one of the reasons we get married. It's one of the reasons we have kids, is because like this will make me more than I was before. So I don't think we can find ways to be excited about things and be into something if we're open to the idea that I'm not defined by this one or two or three things.
Mhm.
I can actually be really into this stuff. One of my clients on yesterday said something like, "Yeah, man, I'm backwoods country and I like pink. All right," and I was like, "Good for you, man." I don't know what that means, but he's like, "I'm not defined by the fact that I'm like," because he lives by himself, kind of off in the country.
Mhm.
He's like, "But yeah, I can be other things." And I was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, it's a good mentality to say, I don't know, what else could I be into?
Yeah.
Like, how do I be an actual Renaissance man that's like, yeah, I actually know how to put together a really good outfit,
Mhm.
and then I can come do some woodworking in your garage if you want."
Yeah.
Like, why would we ever say, no, I do one thing, I don't want to do your thing?
Mhm.
What a freaking waste.
Well, and
Yeah.
so it's funny because when we started this episode, I thought of two things. I thought of shopping with Jenner, and then I thought of the Gilmore Girls
Mhm.
because Jenner has recently discovered the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
That's too bad. I'd probably get into it if I watched it.
So that's the funny thing. Like, I didn't want to admit it. Oh no, I'm totally sucked into that dumb show.
Okay, let me ask you a question then.
Well, for the record, we're only like 10 episodes in, and
Now
I haven't
this is
seen
a-
all of
Well,
them.
okay,
but
so
go ahead.
here's my
episode.
history with Gilmore Girls.
Okay.
If you must know, you don't really need to know, but
No,
I'll
I
tell
want
you.
to know.
So in high school, and later I found out why this was, but in high school it was like the writing is so witty and fast, and the acting is so like wooden.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who talks like that, and they don't even sound like they're feeling the lines, and it feels like weird. So I hated it, and like my girlfriend in high school watched it, and I was like, I'm out of here. And then now that my girls are watching it, like, I've been sabotaged twice actually, because I sat down intentionally, like with my youngest. She's like, "What do you want to watch?" I'm like, "Here, let's watch Gilmore Girls since you love it, right?" And then for some reason Netflix kept kicking us out, and I was like, "Well, I tried."
It's a sign.
But then we did the other night when she was up here doing homework with me. We put it on, but then she wasn't getting any homework done. So, but the mom,
Oh, she drives me nuts. Wait, which mom?
dude, the grandma,
Yeah, sure.
that woman has no expression in her eyes ever, and I'm like,
funny.
why
She's
are her
like
eyes so dead? But I found out that like a lot of the actors didn't really understand the references because there's so much packed in there that they were just kind of like, I don't even know how to act this line because I don't even know what this is or who this person is or But anyway, I do want to watch it because like all my girls are into it.
Yeah.
And they have, have seen it a million times now, but yeah.
The daughter is supposed to be 16, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
The actress that plays her was, I think,
probably 25.
Yeah, she was only 19 actually.
Oh, okay.
When it started filming. She plays it like she's 14.
Mm-hmm.
And so like
she's a horrible actress.
There's times where I watch it and
like,
I'm like,
I think everybody agrees on that.
But I'm like, how old is she? Like,
yeah.
You want me to believe that she's in this relationship, but I watch her and I think, you're letting your 14-year-old do that? And then they'll make some reference to her driving. Yeah. And the first time they made reference to her driving, I thought, you're going to let your kid without a license drive?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? And then I realized, oh, no, she has a license.
Yeah.
She could drive herself. Like, okay.
Those are the two thoughts that came up for you, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we're veering off into.
Sorry, it's the Gilmore Girls. No, but it's one of those where like the other night we sat down and I had missed an episode, right? Like my wife had watched one during the work day and she sat down to watch it. She goes, "Let me catch you up." And I go, I don't actually care that much.
I've been pretending the whole time.
And she goes, "No, but the last episode you saw ended like this." And I was like, "Oh, that's right." And I said, "So what happened?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, I say to her all the time, I'm like, "Oh, I hate that I get sucked into your shows." Mm-hmm. Because it's.
But why can't it be your show? Because
that's
Gilmore Girls.
No, it comes back to the right, like this idea of like we talk about defining ourselves narrowly as men, right? No, as a man, you can't watch Gilmore Girls.
I know.
Like
you don't go to your buddies, go to the bar with your buddies, and be like, "You guys see the latest episode?"
Yeah, they would be like, "What are you, 15? Like a 15-year-old girl?"
I've literally been made fun of things for stuff like that. It's like, you watch that? It's like, yeah. Or I remember showing up once with like this little dinky cooler. Some guy's like, "That's your cooler?" Another guy goes,
Got
I
it.
like it. Why does everybody have to buy a Yeti?
Yeah, it's got everything I need in
It's
it.
like dinky and rolled like a little suitcase.
Well, that's like I remember in college one time we used to do our Thursday night.
Oh,
and,
when we
and
watched,
we would sit and watch. We would watch Friends and Scrubs, and then we would watch a movie usually
Mhm.
and eat.
jeez,
Eat
being
fast
in
food.
college was awesome.
I know, right?
It's like I had all night, stay up till midnight.
And my wife came home from work one day, and we're watching Notting Hill,
Mhm.
and it's me and Rob and his roommates Ryan and
Knipples.
and we're watching Notting Hill. And she goes, seriously? And I'm like, it's good. And she goes, I know, but
It's what dudes do. Notting Hill. It's what dudes do.
but that's the thing, like none of us cared. It was a funny
Yeah.
movie, so we watched it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we often worry about, right? Like for me, like no, I was worried about being like, yeah, I got sucked into Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. No, I think that if you're listening and you find that you're kind of rigid around what you're into, and for people to spend time with you, they have to be into what you're into.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem.
Yeah. It's
Right.
an insecurity for sure.
Yeah. And I think, because it's hard. I mean, then everybody around you feels like they have an interest in you, and they're putting forth effort to spend time in the thing that you're interested in and learn about it and maybe talk to you about it, because that's the only thing you really talk about. But then, like, it's not reciprocal at all, right? What happens sometimes is then all the people around you start to like make a lot of their relationship decisions based on that, and
Mhm.
and they start to feel insecure about like, well, I have to be the one that's more into that thing
Yeah.
than the other people in the family, otherwise I won't have the same closeness with you, because the only way I get closeness with you is if I'm into what you're into.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they just stop engaging.
Yeah.
And you end up kind of isolated, wondering, well, how come?
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't anyone invite me anymore?
Right.
How come
Yeah.
my friends don't invite me to this? Well,
Yeah.
because you've made clear you're not interested in it.
Yeah.
So
There's
why would they?
You guys have seen Jerry and Marge Go Large, right?
Yes.
No.
With Bryan Cranston and I
Yeah.
can't remember her name.
Yeah. I feel like it was a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of one of the things that happened for him, was like he realized, oh,
Not
like
a long time ago.
I'm just trying to get everybody to be interested in what I'm interested in. And his son, you know, he retires, and then he's like, it's a true story based on a true story, but he finds this way to like he finds the basically like the loophole in the state lottery, and so he starts buying all these tickets and stuff. So he's trying to get everybody involved, and his son's like, no, his adult son, no, I'm gonna freaking count your lottery tickets. Like, why didn't you ever throw the football with me? That's what I was into. We always did what you wanted to do, right? And like that's kind of where the realization he comes to is like, oh, I've just been cramming everybody into my interests, and so I've lost relationships as a result because I'm not open to being into what other people are into. So,
well, and I talk to my kids. You know, they'll complain about having to go to stuff, or not even just complain, just like, why it's going to be this or that. And I said, look, it might be, but I can promise you, the more you choose to engage in it, the more fun you'll have.
Yeah.
If you sit on the outside and say, well, I don't like that, or I don't like that, yeah, you're going to come home and think that sucked, because it will suck. But if you look and you say, no, like if they're doing a dumb song, okay, I'm going to sing the dumb song. Or if they're playing this game that I don't love, okay, I'm going to play the game and just embrace the fact that I'm going to look like an idiot. You'll come home having had such a good time. If you engage in the process, that's where the positive is. And so I think it's the same with any kind of activity we're talking about. If you engage in it, you're going to get something out of it. And it will be something, or it has the potential to be something just beyond the connection with your spouse or with your kid. Because you're choosing to just say whatever. Like that's one of the things I will get sucked into almost any show. Like my people listen to me and they're like, oh, you like every movie. I can see positive things in almost every movie. And some of them are really bad. And I'm still like, nah, I mean, this part was kind of cool. Because I relax and I let myself engage in it. Like I'm willing to suspend whatever belief I have to sit and say, okay, I'm going to go live in that world for a little bit. And I don't care how unrealistic it is. I'm going to go and I'm going to engage in their world and see what happens. The same thing can happen as we work with our children or with our wives, or not work with them, but like interact with them. If we just choose to engage in that thing, if we choose to go live in their world for a little bit and try to see it how they see it, it'll change what that experience is for us.
So then, spacemen, let yourself expand as you take an interest in other people's interests. Then come back next time on the next episode of The Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls.
To the drink store.
We hope you enjoyed the episode. Please remember to
Rate
and
Review.
please, we desperately need it.